to Career Girl Chat Season 2, Episode 12. My name is Anna O. I am the founder of Career Girl Lifestyle, and today we are talking about professional development and why it is the key to your success. I have the pleasure of speaking with Michelle Mimi Matthews, also known as Coach Mimi, and she is going to just drop all of her gems with us about professional development, career advancement, and why we all need it. So as I normally do, I like to read the bio of all of my guests before we jump into our discussion. So let me introduce you all to Michelle Mimi Matthews. Michelle Mimi Matthews is an entrepreneur and career empowerment strategist. She is the founder of RBG Royalty, a career advancement company that provides a wide range of services, including career coaching, professional writing, developing job search strategy, interviewing, and much more. She is also the host of the Boss Up and Hustle podcast, where she shares her experiences, ideas, and strategies for achieving personal success. And as I mentioned earlier, she is going to be talking to us today about why professional development is the key to your success. So let me invite her in so this discussion started.
Hey, Anna.
How are you, Coach Mimi?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited for this conversation. As you can see, normally I'm wearing black, but today I'm wearing pink. Just
Well, I'm glad that I had you, spruce it up, get some little brightness in there. But I love black, so neither here nor there.
Black is the happy color.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the discussion, I don't think I ever told you how I came to know you. So at the beginning of this year, Kim Henderson, the founder of Women Unbreakable, shout out to Kim, she had an event called Holistically You, and you were one of the speakers.
Yes.
And it was an all-day event from what I remember. There were a few different segments, and I was watching the event throughout the day, just doing my house chores because I think it was on a weekend. And I wasn't looking at my phone, but I just heard this woman talking. I don't even think I came after you were introduced. I came in the middle of when you were speaking. And I just remember telling myself, who is this woman? I need to meet her. Everything she's saying is just what I need to hear. I need to get this woman on the phone. And literally, I think an hour after the conference, you had sent me a request on Instagram. And you didn't even know that I was listening to you and already thinking to connect with you. So I think,
it was supposed to be.
Exactly. I don't believe in coincidences. I think it was meant for us to meet.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. That's what's up. I figured as much. I figured, I don't know how I put two and two together, but I figured it out a while ago that we got connected through Kim, though. I just don't know how I put it together.
Well, now you know the full story.
I'm glad it happened that way, because I remember very vividly that day, because I was about 8 months pregnant then and doing that. So yeah, I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Yes, you are definitely super mama, and happy Mother's Day. I know it was this past weekend, but happy Mother's Day again.
Thank you.
So let's jump right into the discussion. Can you share a little bit of your story with us? How did Coach Mimi transition from accounting into career coaching?
Man, so it's actually a bigger picture than that. I was just telling someone that I'm going to change my LinkedIn profile to say community activist turned accountant turned resume writer turned career coach, because I literally started out just doing stuff in the community here in Chicago. I never had it in me to just, be this resume writer that's known all throughout, the virtual world. I thought I would just do it, on a small spectrum, but I started doing it because of the birth of my first son. I had my first son, and I was like, okay, I'm a single mom. I have to make ends meet. So I didn't want to pick up another job, of course, because I actually was still in school at the time. I was doing my MBA. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to pick up another job, but I do know I'm really good at writing. So I ended up just taking a talent, a gift that I've been doing, for I don't know how long, and deciding to monetize it. So I went ahead and started writing resumes for very, very cheap. I don't even want to talk about how cheap, but very, very cheap. And just started working my way up to get word of mouth, and have people talking about me. And after that was successful, I just kept growing and growing, and eventually ran into Kim. And I don't know, something about Kim is she's an amazing woman, and she actually introduced me to a few other women who I was helping with resumes. And somehow, like I think 2 out of the 3 women that I was helping, they something with their cases made me just be like, yo, career coaching could be a lane for you. And I've always wanted to do it anyway because I'm more so of a hands-on person anyway. Like I like to see the project go full force. I don't want to just be a part of it. I want to see everything take place. So after dealing with that, I just was like, okay, I think I could do career coaching. But where does that leave me? How do I make a lane for myself? Because my background is in accounting. So I decided to go ahead and get my career coaching certification last year, and I've been rocking with it ever since. So
Been up and stuck ever
yeah,
since.
for real. Seriously, it's been fun too. I love it.
I love that. When you decided to become a career coach, why was it important for you to specifically help women?
Oh, so because of my own issues, first of all, like I mentioned with my son, I became a single mom, and I realized, okay, I realized just how vulnerable women are in the job market. I had to go to school. I was going to school from I think like 7 to almost 9 at night, and then I was working 9 to 5, of course. So in my head, I'm just like, this is impossible. Like, what in the world? Like, just to get your footing in the corporate world, you have to do so much backbending if you want to show up in other aspects in your life. Like if you want to be a mom, if you want to have community involvement, if you want to do any of these other things, there's so much stuff you have to do to even make sure that you have a decent salary to balance all of that.
Right.
So it just became really clear to me that a woman with a higher paying salary, ultimately, she's able to do more things. She's able to show up more for herself and in her life, as long as she's sure she can sustain herself. So for me, it's all about, of course, finding a career that actually suits you, of course, but more so just that security, because I didn't have that when I came into this, and it was crazy to me because I felt so overqualified for the things that I was doing, but I was still not making the right amount of money to sustain me and one child. So
Right. Right. How transformative is career coaching, and why do you believe every professional should invest in one?
so I just answered this in a blog post I wrote a week ago. I believe every professional should have someone who they can reference for advice, try to get them, help with their career mapping and things like that, just figuring out how does all the pieces fit together. And the reason I say that is because just like with therapy, and I always compare it to therapy because I have a therapist and I've been talking to her thoroughly about this. With therapy, it's like they help you talk through a problem. They're helping you see all of the different aspects of how things could, play into each other, right? With coaching, it's more so we already know what we're going after. We've already identified how we want the pieces to go. but for some reason we just can't make them happen. They're not we're pushing and pushing, and they're not matching up. So with a
Mhm.
coach, so to speak, the coach is there to really push you to figure out how to put those pieces together, because you already have it. So most of the time professionals have everything that they need within them to do what it is they want to do,
Yeah.
but imposter syndrome, confidence issues, things that we all have and deal with as humans, is natural. Fear is
Yeah.
natural, you know. Those things tend to keep us in our place instead of going after the things that we actually want in our career. So that's why I believe every professional should get some type of coaching at some point in their career, just to make sure that they're not standing in their own way.
Yeah. Especially women.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
women.
yeah.
So I was really captivated by your Instagram bio, and I'm just gonna quote it. It says, "I coach underemployed women to achieve hashtag career goals through alignment with self branding and connection." Why do you believe alignment with self is important when trying to achieve career goals?
Whew, because as a woman, we're told so many different things that we're supposed to be doing. We're told how we're supposed to do it. And I think sometimes we could lose our own messaging,
Yeah.
right? We can get lost in what everyone else wants for us. But in reality, when that happens, we mess up everything. Nothing works after that. You
Mhm.
have to be able to say that this is what I want because, and that reason after that because needs to be something that is good, that feels good to you. It has to be
Right.
specific to your picture of success, or else none of it matters, and is never going to feel good for you.
Yeah, I agree. What does being underemployed look like? I see that word a lot. It's like nowadays, especially on your IG and your website. So, what does being underemployed look like, and how does a career coach like yourself help someone who is underemployed break out of that and find work that's fulfilling?
Yeah. So underemployment can exist in two different areas. One being your salary, of course. You could be someone who's doing two or three jobs at one time and should be getting paid more. Or you could be someone who has a position, which is a hot topic right now on LinkedIn, a position where they've, said that it's a low skilled position and your title doesn't match exactly the type of work that you're doing, the depth of the work that you're doing. So I always talk to people about, what's more important to you, the money or how you look on paper. You could very well be invested in trying to change both, which is great.
Mhm.
But underemployment exists in both of those areas. And as a career coach, it's my job to make sure that people understand that, hey, this is not right. Like, we're checking the market analysis and everything of the positions that they're doing. We're checking the job descriptions against other job descriptions that's out there and looking at those salaries. And if this stuff isn't matching up, that means you're actually underemployed, especially if it's obvious that you are doing more than one job. You're underemployed, and you need
Yeah.
to go ahead and get up out of that, because what happens is it ultimately damages your confidence going forward, because you're thinking of everything as minute, when in reality everything that you're doing is major. But because
Right.
you're paid this low paying salary, because you're given this crappy title, you don't look at it that way. You're looking at it as if you're just some basic person out here doing basic stuff, and that's not the way that it should be.
Right. Absolutely. So, what is your approach with your clients? And can you give us an idea of what an effective career advancement strategy entails? Like
Yeah,
when you're
sure.
working with your clients?
Sure, yeah. So my thing is, first, and like we've already talked about, is the mindset piece, making sure that you understand that this is something that you have to want, and it has to feel good for you. So I always make sure that the mindset is in place first, because for me, if your mindset isn't there, if it's not, ready for growth, if it's not ready for expansion or advancement, then my job is not going to be done. Like, it's just going to be in vain. So my approach is to first just see where they're at, see where the person is, where they want to go, and what exactly have they been doing to get there before me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so it's always good to enter the situation understanding exactly what is going on. And the way that I create a strategy, because the strategy looks different for everyone. Some
Right.
people want to go into leadership. Some people just want to, again, like I said, get a better paying salary. Some people are looking to change their title. So according to whatever their goal is, the strategy is always to make sure that it fits them. First of all, that we've designed it, we've mapped it out as well as they, can possibly do it in
Mm-hmm.
that moment. So we're mapping it out, and then I'm understanding where they are, because a lot of the time people downplay their skills and their abilities. So I'm going in for, like a bull coming out of the bullpen with red bread in front of me. I want to know everything about you. Like, I'm
Yeah.
probably already on your LinkedIn page while I'm talking to you in a sales call. Like, that's how I
Mm-hmm.
do it. I want to know every single detail about your experience, because what we do is we use that to leverage whatever the goal is
Mm-hmm.
and get that rolling into place. So say for instance, you are going into leadership. I'm going to take whatever experience you give me and find out all the details I can, as far as data, as far as the quantifiable things that we could put on your resume to position you to look important, because it's important to look important when you're trying to be a leader, right? So I'm trying to find those data points. I'm trying to understand exactly what you do in your day-to-day position. I want to know who's benefiting from the things that you're doing. I want to know all of these different things, because it's going to allow me to help you see yourself differently. First of all, you're going to start to feel like, okay, not only should I go after this, but I deserve it. And that's
Right.
what I want. I want the mindset shift to happen where this job search is cool. Like, I know I need a job, but these people on the other end of this, they need me too.
Right.
So that's the way that I go at it, just making sure that we understand what we have to leverage to get to the next step.
Right. So, since we're on the topic of leadership, you touched on it a little bit, but what can professionals do to position themselves for leadership roles?
Yeah.
I think you said you're speaking to a different audience. So, who are we speaking to exactly, and how can we speak to them to ultimately, be seen as leaders?
So yeah, you are speaking to an entirely different audience when you're going into leadership. I always talk about how you should cite your results and not your duties. That's like I mean, for the most part in the industry, you will find that tip everywhere. Talk
Right.
about the results and not the duties. But it's a little deeper than that, because when you recognize that on the other side of the table is not an employee that doesn't understand the job, it's not someone who is new to any of this, it's likely someone who's going to be over you when you
Mhm.
get into this position. So when you're talking to them, you want to speak their language, just like with anything else. And when you're selling something, and I always compare it to selling, when you're selling something, you're giving the most persuasive stuff at the front. So I always talk about the hierarchy of bullet points on the resume. Make sure the most important stuff is at the very top of your entries on your resume. Make sure you're using power verbs when you're talking about yourself. Like I said, the data points, that quantifiable the metrics and different stuff like that. Make sure you're citing those things, because that's the language of a leader. A leader makes decisions, and a leader doesn't really care what comes before the result. They want to hear the result, because that's what allows them to make the decision. So if you're able to step up to the plate and show that you can speak the language and that you can really talk the talk, you will get their attention.
Yes, you preaching right now. I'm seeing it. Let's talk about LinkedIn, because that's
Okay.
actually what I overheard that first time that I ever heard you speak. You were speaking about LinkedIn and how to leverage LinkedIn, because a lot of people are still sleeping on it. So,
Mm-hmm.
can you talk to us about, I think everyone knows what LinkedIn is, but why is it important, if you're looking for to transition into a new role, if you're trying to just leverage it for your career success, pretty much.
Yeah, so LinkedIn is one of those places. I was kind of late to the party myself. I've always had a working profile, but I was a little late to the party myself. I will
Yeah.
not sit here in front, okay? Like I've been a LinkedIn like social butterfly because I haven't. But last year, one of the other career coaches here, Lucretia Davis, had allowed me to sit on a panel with her last year on LinkedIn for Black professionals, and it was amazing. I loved every bit of it. And prior to that, I kind of had a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn. I still do, but I the difference is that now it's been reinforced over and over again to me the benefits of being on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a social media platform that allows you to just be in the open with other professionals. And it's amazing. It's an amazing place because opportunity is everywhere. Opportunity is everywhere. There are so many different people you could get connected to that you would not have the ability to do or be connected with without LinkedIn. So I always preach the importance of it because they have on there first, second, and third degree connections.
Mhm.
Third degree connections are the people who you probably will never meet in this lifetime. Like you're connected to them just because of like some far-fetched, like maybe a second degree connection,
Right.
or you might be following the same person or something. But
Mhm.
those third degree connections, that's how I really solidify my point with LinkedIn. The third degree connections, man, I want to make sure I get this out the right way. So
Mhm.
third degree connections, they are literally like the bread and butter. So for instance, if you're going for, I don't know, some type of VP position, this is just hypothetically speaking, right? A VP position in, I don't know, Verizon Wireless or something, we'll use them.
Mhm.
You don't get to, you know how you do your research for a job position where you're looking for the people who might be interviewing you, you're looking for the people who might have posted the position, that type of thing. You
Yes.
don't really get to do that when you get to that C-suite level. You don't really get to do that type of research because those people are really private and closed off. However, on LinkedIn, if you can find people to link you between that first and that third connection,
Mhm.
which is likely that VP person, you it's simple as an email could get you talking to that person. Or I mean, not an email, but a DM. It's as simple as a DM could get you talking to that person. So when you think about it in that context, it just shows you how important it is to leverage that platform because you could go from, unlike Facebook or Instagram, you could go from being a nobody, like no one knows you, to everyone knowing you overnight on LinkedIn because your content, your engagement, and everything, it counts more and it actually lives longer on that platform. So when you're in the job search, it is absolutely vital to be on LinkedIn because it just broadens your horizon and like I said, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah, and a lot of applications now they have a part where you put in your LinkedIn, like the link
Yeah.
for your LinkedIn. Like it's like required now for you to have a
I'm
LinkedIn.
gonna I'm gonna go on record here and say this. I really feel like in the future resumes will be phased out and LinkedIn is going to become that
Yeah.
replacement. And I'm telling everyone that I know that because we skip out on engaging on LinkedIn. We don't really pay attention to that platform. I was the same way.
Right.
We don't really pay attention to that platform. A lot of times it's intimidating for people to even start, talking or engaging on there because, it has this, I don't know, I guess a rap for being this place where, you just got to walk on eggshells, but it's not
Yeah.
like that really anymore. Like it's really becoming a different arena. And I kind of enjoy being there sometimes. So I always tell people, just make sure that you can engage on there at least 3 to 5 times out the week. Like you don't have to do a whole lot. Just make sure that you're on the platform and that people are seeing you
Yeah.
because I really feel like it's going to take the place of resumes eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, when I decided to go back into the job market, I was like refusing to create a LinkedIn page. I wanted to be I wanted to be incognito times 10. Like I
Everybody
was like, I don't want
says
nobody
that.
seeing me. I'm not even on Instagram personally. Now you want me to get on LinkedIn and tell everybody my business, like where I work.
Yeah.
But one of my good friends, who's actually a principal, she was a principal. She was like, Anna, you need to get on LinkedIn. You need to get on LinkedIn. You're missing out on. You're leaving so much money on the table by not having a LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
And I created one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not as active as I need to be, Coach Mimi. You know this. But what I will say is I have gotten so many because recruiters, they do passive sourcing. So
Hmm.
even if you're not applying to jobs just based off of your profile, recruiters will reach out to you because
Hmm.
you match the skill set, and the qualifications
Absolutely.
for roles that they have available, and they'll check in to see if you're looking for something. And that has happened to me so many times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's one of the
definitely.
key things to of being there is just making sure that you're seen, you're visible.
Right.
That's one of the pillars of my coaching practice is visibility. If you can increase your visibility, the chances are your job search won't last as long as you think it will.
Yeah. So can you share with us? We know that you are amazing, but I want them to see how amazing you are. So can you share some of your success stories with us?
So I have a lot of them. They've been pouring in lately, and I don't know if it's God just trying to give me, an extra push to get out of this maternity funk or what is going on. But it's been coming heavy and it's been laid on thick. Today I received a message from one of my longtime community members. She's never been a client of mine, but she has consumed all of my free content. She's opening emails, she's coming to the Instagram lives, she's doing all of the stuff, um, clicking the stories and everything. And she inboxed me today and was like, I just want to tell you thank you. Basically, she went in and got a management position, but she wanted more money. She asked for more money. The lady told her she needed to spruce up her resume. And she went home using some of the tips that I've given her and got the help of her daughter and was able to get more money just
Wow.
because just because she's paid attention to the stuff that I've given her online for free. So if the free advice works, y'all.
Right.
And then I have another client who recently, he's dear to my heart. Um, I actually coached him the day I went into labor with my son. He is an amazing professional, and the reason why I was so dedicated with trying to wrap up it was an interview prep, trying to wrap up his interview prep
Mhm.
before I went into labor is because he's the type of person where they're absolutely capable of doing what it is they're setting out to do. But because the job market and everything has been, just uncertain, it's beating him down. Like he had lost his confidence. He was starting to think that maybe he wasn't, he's older, he's in his late 50s. So he
Mhm.
was starting to think that maybe they were trying to push him out of the job market pretty much. He was going to have to settle. Well, Charles, that's his name. I have his full permission to use him whenever I talk because he's like I always tell my clients to get an amen corner. Charles is part of the amen corner for Coach Mimi. So Charles has been on multiple interviews. He's landed a position since then, and I had my son in April. I mean, in February.
Mhm.
So February 21st was the last day that I coached him. And since then, he's landed a job. He's been on multiple interviews. Right now, he's in the process of getting a position that actually aligns more so with his background. He has a doctorate, so he wants to make sure he's getting paid accordingly. So
Right.
the position that he's closing out right now, they just called him today and asked him for his list of references, so we can already see where this is going. And
Right.
he's extremely excited because this past year he had to go back into custodial work with his actual business. He wasn't
Mhm.
even he's in the academic arena, but he was doing nothing of that nature. He just, stayed active by volunteering and doing stuff like that. But he was he was doing custodial work with a PhD.
Wow.
So I feel like that I can almost cry right now because that is what it's all about. Although he's a male, you can see, like, sometimes all of us, like I said, it's a human thing. All of us go through that where we're beating ourselves up. That confidence is, leaving because of the things that's happened to us. But for me to be able to help him through that and to get him on the other side of that, where he's like, he sent me an email like, things are looking up for my family, and that's why I'm here in
Yeah.
any of these instances, because I want things to be better for you as a professional in your personal life. Like, the professional life spills over into personal.
Right.
Once the professional is good, the personal life gets better. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So that, man, I don't want to, I still think I got pregnancy hormones going on or something, because I really be getting teary eyed, like,
No, that's an
and then,
amazing story though.
yeah,
And
and
that's true. Like I've definitely felt like that before. I know other people who felt like that before, especially in light of everything that's going on. It's just really competitive. But that's why professional development is so necessary, because it gives
yes,
you that competitive edge, and it brings out those things that, like you said, are already within you, but sometimes you just don't know. You need a coach, you need somebody to guide you through that
remind you.
process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's probably been a while since you dropped an episode,
It has been.
but
Ooh,
can you talk to us about the Boss Up and Hustle podcast? What is it about, and when do you plan on returning?
absolutely. So I was talking to my to my partner. I'm like, oh gosh, she's gonna ask me about the podcast. And the podcast is my baby. Like, oh my God, I love podcasting. It is like super therapeutic for me. And that podcast really is for me to bridge the gap between the people who are in my virtual world, my virtual community, and basically my personal side, pretty much. So I talk a lot about just ditching grind culture altogether, because we've all heard, work, 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 do all the things, be all the people, so that you can get where you want to go. But I like to talk about different strategies and different things that's helped me along the way, kind of escape that, because I used to be that person where I was doing all the things trying to get where I needed to go. I don't know how familiar you are with my story, but I worked 2 jobs all the way up until the pregnancy of my first son. So it's like, I know exactly what it's like to try to do all these things to get to where you want to go, and they're not really working, but you're tired. You're super tired. So
Right.
I use that podcast to give insight on those strategies that I know for a fact work, to kind of help people to really organize their thoughts as far as their mindset, and as far as how, like, that really impacts their professional life and the way they show up as a professional. So
Right.
really just making sure that people understand that, like, there's always a better way. Like, you don't have to do all the things. You can just do
Right.
a thing and make sure you're really great at it.
Exactly. Do what works best for you. Because
Yes, absolutely.
consistency, one thing I learned this year was consistency looks different for everybody.
Man, I had to learn that the hard way, because at the top of the year, one of my goals was to be very consistent. And up until the birth of my son, I was. And it just changed after that. So, like, with the podcast, I was doing episodes every Thursday. And now, I don't know when, because I have the little boy, the newborn, and then I have 2 older kids. So it gets a little loud in my house. So I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to record again, because I used to do it really early in the morning, but now it just doesn't look like that anymore. So I'm hoping to return next month though with a new episode. I've already have everything, the topics and everything all lined up. It's just a matter of getting it recorded and making sure that everything, all the back end stuff is taken care of. So next month, hold me to it. Just like type a little message and be like, so we're gonna get the episode, because accountability
I'm putting
matters.
a calendar reminder.
Yes, accountability matters. So, hopefully
Well,
next month everything will be back to normal and I could get back to sharing all the gems and the good stuff with my people.
yes. Well, I definitely look forward to it, because, like you said, if the free stuff is getting people in jobs, negotiating salaries,
Yes,
I can only imagine the type of heat that's coming with the
man.
podcast.
I just believe in giving it all you got. Give it all you
Yeah.
got. Like, I know for a fact, like, whoever wants to work with me, and this is something I had to overcome too, as a coach. Whoever wants to work with me is going to work with me. Like, there's nothing much that I really have to say to push them to work with me. Like, I don't believe in being the pushy salesman or all that.
Hmm.
Like, I just believe whoever is supposed to work with me is going to work with me.
Yeah,
So when I'm out here on these different platforms, I'm just basically giving you insight or more of an idea of what type of person I am. And once you come to me, you've pretty much already decided whether or not you're going to work with me or not. So when I exist on all of these different platforms, it's for me to show up and give you what you need to understand, like whether or not I'm a good fit for you.
absolutely. Because I already knew 2 months beforehand that I was. It was literally, I'm not like, I have it somewhere. I have it in either my journal or my planner. But I already knew 2 months in advance. I was like, I'm hiring her
Yeah,
because
I
I just
remember your
love like
email.
I just really love like I said, I was doing house chores. I didn't care what you looked like. I don't like I didn't know, I really didn't know who was talking. I was just listening to a person, and everything that you were saying, like it really resonated with me.
That's
Just your delivery. Like you were talking about LinkedIn, and you were saying the same exact thing. Like you were late to the party, you didn't want to be seen, and I was just like, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's all me. It
yeah,
was just very real, it was very authentic, and like you said, it wasn't salesy. You sounded like a real person, and
yeah.
that's really what gravitated me to you. And I've been happy ever since, and I love, 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 love having you as a coach.
Oh man.
um, so for women who are interested in your services, are you taking new clients right now?
So I am. I'm taking new resume clients right now, but coaching is completely booked for May. I'm opening the books one more time for one-on-one services in June. After that, I'm revamping my entire packaging to better fit my life, because what type of coach would I be out here trying to tell everybody to do everything that they need to do to make sure their professional life is aligned with their personal if I don't do the same. So I'm going to be leaning more into group coaching and group offerings and things like that, just so that I can use my time more wisely and create more of an impact, because the impact is always the most important thing to me. So I'll be revamping things, and after June, there will be no more one-on-one services. So if anyone's interested in one-on-one coaching, June is the time to do it, because I won't be available for one-on-one coaching after that.
Ladies, she's worth it. I'm telling you, she's worth it. I'm not even saying, like, she's worth it.
That means so much to me. And like my cheeks still like, and that's what, man. When people tell me like the authenticity and everything is what draw them in, my cheeks get so rosy, because it's like, when I did that panel on LinkedIn, one of the things that I really, really stressed to those professionals was that, with me, you get what you see. Like, you get exactly what you see. I'm not trying to show up as anyone else. I'm not trying to do things any different than what I would do if it were me, if I were you in the seat. You know what I'm saying? So it's really important to me to make sure that my clients feel I'm giving my whole self, my whole authentic self. So when you guys tell me that, it still like just makes me so.
Well, it's true. It's true. It's really true. What is one self-care tip that you can give to us? One self-care tip that's been keeping you sane in quarantine.
Ooh, make it. Put the D&D on your phone. Make it completely about you, whatever it is that you're doing. So what I've been doing is on Sundays, I always, it's the self-care Sunday thing, but
Mhm.
that's really my self-care day. Like on Sundays, I go, I get my pedicures, my manicures, all this good stuff, and I am not available. Don't talk to me. Like kids, all these people, do not talk to me. Like I am by myself with myself. It's you really need to have time to just reflect. And I find myself being able to reflect when I'm sitting in a chair getting these services and stuff. Make yourself unavailable. So whenever you're doing this stuff, like even if it's just putting a mask on your face, don't
Mhm.
talk to nobody. Put your mask on your face and lay down and just be to yourself. You need a moment to yourself that's completely for you.
I love that because especially as women, we're always giving so much of ourselves
All
to
the
everybody
hats.
else, and then by
Yes.
the time the night is over, we have none of that energy for ourselves.
Yep. All you're wearing all the hats. Sometimes it's just best to take them all off and just sit there without the hats. Just sit there without.
Absolutely. All right. And one more mystery question because I know you have to get back to the babies. Three career girls who you would have on your dream team, like three dope, bomb, professional women who you would say these three women we going to
Ooh,
the top together.
this good. This good. So I am currently reading a book by Allie K, the lady who does Allie K natural hair products.
Rochelle Graham. I
Rochelle
love
Graham
her.
Campbell. Yes, she's one for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I love, love, love her story, and I love everything that she's given. Like, if you're, into reading and stuff like that,
Yes.
her 90 Days to CEO book is amazing. Even if you don't run a business, it's just an amazing insight. So she's one. And I think, who else would I put on this team? This is so hard because
She's a beast.
Issa Rae. I'm going with Issa Rae for
Yeah.
sure because Issa is my girl. I love Issa to death. I'm gonna go with Issa Rae. And who would the third person be? Oh, this is hard. This is a good question. I think I would go with. I don't know if anyone's heard of her. She's not like this power guru person or famous person, but her name is Courtney Sanders. She has a podcast, and she's a coach as well for business people, and I love her. Like, I can't like really binge on her podcast. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's amazing. She's one of the people who wears all the hats, and I admire immensely because she does it so seamlessly. She just had a baby too, so it's like I see myself in her. I love everything she's doing. So yeah, it would be Rochelle Graham Campbell. It would be Issa Rae and Courtney Sanders.
That's a dream team right there. That's
Because
definitely a dream
Issa,
team.
man, I just love Issa Rae. Oh my god.
Yeah. I think you referenced her when you were telling me how to prep for my interview. You said, girl, just
That's
go in the mirror and talk to yourself like Issa Rae and Insecure.
talk to yourself. I am the queen. Like, I've started, and this is just a tidbit. So this, you heard it here first. I've started recording these conversations I be having with myself in the mirror because I'm working on a project. I'm not gonna get too in depth with it, but I'm working on a project where I'm going to like release all of these talks I have to myself, like, because they're so good. Like,
Yeah.
they're really good. Like, not just for me. I feel like it's the coach in me. Like, I be literally coaching myself. So I just feel like people could benefit from it, more so than just me. I feel like when you're doing stuff, give it your all. That's what I always say, give it your all. And those coaching sessions that I have with myself are probably the most transparent and the most, like, I'm gonna just go put it very provocative because I'm talking all the talk when I'm talking to myself. So I'm gonna record those and put them out in some form, some shape, some way. I'm not gonna talk about it, but yeah, that's
I
gonna
love it.
happen.
I definitely can't wait to hear this. So this
That's
is
gonna happen.
outside of the Boss Up and Hustle podcast. This is like that exclusive mixtape.
This is gonna be a girl. Look, it's gonna be so hot because I just know that there's a power in words. I've always been that person. Like, there's a power in words, and the words literally shift the way you feel.
Yeah.
Like, the power of the tongue is real. Like, I could tell you something that will
Yep.
kill your spirit in a matter of minutes. I could tell you something that will lift your spirit in a matter of minutes. So I just feel like, once we recognize how powerful words are, whew, it changes your life. Seriously.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, Coach Mimi, thank you so much for your time. I
You're
really
welcome.
enjoyed this conversation.
I did too.
I'm really happy. I feel like, this, like, I normally, you don't go live often, so I'm honored.
Yeah, I see. Beforehand, I was going live every Wednesday, and that has changed since the baby. So you are actually the first person that I have gotten on the live with since having the baby. So thank you so much for having me because, man, it's been So many people have asked, but I just have to turn it down because it's just not working.
Oh,
The
no, I'm
times
really
don't.
honored.
Anna, like I had to make sure I made it work for you, just because, for one, you're one of my past clients. Like I have to. That's you're like VIP section, okay? And then on top of that, I love what you're doing here. I appreciate you being consistent and showing up for your audience, because it's not easy, especially when you're dealing with your own stuff. So yeah, I appreciate what you're doing here, and I wouldn't have missed this to I wouldn't have missed this at all.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Good night, Coach Mimi.